Hello and welcome to the Green Monster team-sponsored battle. Local Pennsylvania team-sponsored players will be competing today, challenging the Green Monster course. So we have Double Helix, Home Again Disc Golf, Just Playing Disc Golf, and Cosmic Disc Golf, all competing here for a local crown of ourselves. I'm Ramie Millar with Home Again Disc Golf.
And I'm Daddario with Just Playing Disc Golf.
Hi, my name's David Dunn, representing Double Helix Disc Golf. Let's go. Get up. Sit. Ramie Millar. I want to thank my sponsor, Home Again Disc Golf, and Lancaster County Disc Golf Club. Stocklin, DJ 129021, and my sponsor is Cosmic Disc Golf.
My name's Bigley, sponsored by Just Playing Disc Golf. I'm known for throwing for show and trying my best not to miss my putts.
Whoa!
That is interesting.
So hole one here, you have a small gap off the tee that you're really trying to just kind of get into the gap and get off to the right a little bit to open up your shot to get to the long basket here.
Definitely one of the tougher hole ones I've seen courses start out with. Got some teeth on this one here.
Yeah, you're asked a lot off your first tee shot to find a space that's actually a good spot to try and approach the basket from here. A lot of times it'll take two shots for somebody just to get out into the open. And this can be just play par golf right away off the first tee.
Yeah, definitely seeing some interesting lies for the second shots here.
We did have just a little bit of wind and rain here at the start of the round, so some players were playing a little more conservative on some of their shots. Bigley got a fantastic turnover line out here into the open. This is ideal for hole one.
Let's see what he does with it here.
Dave Dunn's just going to chip up a forehand here after going down into the water on the first tee shot. Just trying to conserve strokes here.
Beautiful placement too. Nothing like a no pressure putt coming up.
Swing.
Absolutely. So I turn myself over a little bit here into the weeds. Just got to chip up here and just find a nice easy par after the bad second shot.
Got ourselves a nice lengthy putt here to start the day off. Looks like he leaves it a little bit high, but stays pretty close to the basket. Should have no problem putting that one in.
Great birdie by Bigley. And again, we're playing the long pads to the short baskets. I think I said the long baskets earlier, but we were playing the long pads to the short tees, or the short baskets.
Definitely not the easiest layout, though. This course tends to challenge you from all positions, it seems like.
Yeah, and the long tees are significantly farther back than the shorter tees. So even the short baskets are still a daunting task. So after hole one, Bigley takes a nice little one-stroke lead on a couple players here, getting that early birdie.
Yeah, hole two here, definitely after a first tough par four, welcomes you to the over-the-water shot, 248 feet. Got to turn something over a little bit. Backhand Anheuser, maybe a straight flying forehand up the gut. Just trying to land it safe, get across the water, and put yourself in position to hopefully get a two.
It's way back over to the tee pad here. There's definitely wind coming off of that lake. There always is. So you definitely want to make sure that you're just getting across and getting somewhere safe.
Nope, just look.
You know, always good to assess everyone else's shot. Take an extra second here to determine what you're going to do.
Get in.
Dave threw a great forehand shot right there, just nice and straight, just held the whole way, kept it low, so it just kind of screamed across the ground when he got up there.
Forward. Safe. Alright, that's it.
Adam tried to do the same there. He just kind of brought it down a little low and just kind of dug into the hillside.
See what he can do with this nice little lean out.
Nice.
This is my first scuba attempt on film.
All right, that seemed okay. You know, good 7 out of 10 maybe.
Definitely got far enough. That's all that matters. I'm not throwing him in like Brody. Bigley had a nice little chip up there. He got caught up on the right side as he turned his over a little too much.
Just leaves that a little bit too high. Maybe it's that wind coming up the tunnel off the water.
Yeah, I think it was definitely wind and just grip. A lot of discs were still wet. The grass, it just rained, so grass was wet, discs were wet. I think he just had a tough go of it early here. Dave misses a short putt there that could have been a nice little birdie, but he'll take a nice easy par. And as will Bigley.
That's a solid start, being 1 down through 2.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely ideal. I mean, I would have thought it to go the other way, getting the par on hole 1 and getting the birdie on hole 2, but you know, however you can be under par after the first 2 is absolutely ideal.
There we go, getting those early straddles in. Looks like a little bit of a tough start here for Andrew. Let's see if he can bring it back. Lots of strokes to be had on this course. Speaking of which, you got hole 3 here, 274 feet, slightly uphill to a green surrounded by rocks. It's hazard if you don't land inside. Definitely a beautiful hole, and what a beautiful shot by Derek there.
Yeah, he just took something really overstable and just threw it into the headwind and just had held it straight the whole way and just settled down right next to the basket. That's definitely what you're looking for on that hole.
A little bit of a skip. It stayed on the island there for you.
Yeah, Bigley made it look so easy. I thought I would just follow suit and just put it right down next to the basket, but I caught it. Dave does the same here and goes the opposite way.
There you go. We've covered all parts of the green here. Let's see see what we got here. Doesn't look like too much wind, but there was definitely a little bit of a left to right wind, and you could see it right there, just not letting the disc come back.
Yeah, it just pushed Andrew's stuff right down to the ground, right when he was getting ready to swing back in. So he'll be putting from the hazard here with a +1 stroke.
And I think this is the third circle 2 putt he's had to deal with so far, at least the second. But he cashes this one. What a beautiful putt.
Yeah, he read the wind perfectly on that. It had just enough pace to get there and hyzered in right at the right time. It was a great putt by him to save that stroke. Here's me trying not to get big putted.
I would call that a success. Great putt. Good win from the opposite direction. Nice birdie there.
Thank you. Having that tailwind definitely helped hold my disc up a little longer to get it there. You can kind of hear the wind roaring through the camera here.
Another great putt right there too.
Yeah, everybody made their putts, so we all made it in 2 shots. Unfortunately, Andrew didn't make his way onto the island, so he'll be taking a par on that hole, or the rest of us will be taking that birdie.
I mean, speaking of ideal starts, you got Mr. Bigley here, -2 through 3. He's got to be feeling good coming into hole 4, which definitely is a test of your angle and shot shaping as you're going uphill 265 feet. The basket's kind of tucked into the woods a little bit with some guardian trees.
And Bigley immediately runs out. He thinks he's got a good line on this shot. I had never actually thrown to this basket before, so I didn't know we were actually throwing it to.
Great shot.
but just presume that the top of the hill is a good spot to be. So I'm just trying to keep it tight to the wood line here. Try to follow where Bigley went.
Kick, kick.
Saw it off into the tree line. Mistake you can't make to make.
Yeah, and one thing definitely to take notice of here with the green monster, some of this rough is pretty rough. It's you're going to be doing a lot of angles and stretches that you aren't really used to throwing from, so staying out of it's pretty ideal.
Jeez, Dave. Yep.
And here's what you're looking for out of that forehand. You're really just trying to keep it flat, pushing up the hill and hyzering on the way up at the end of the basket. Andrew caught just a little bit of headwind there, and it just kind of turned his disc over a little bit, so he's really straight. And just like you were talking about, finding very, very thick rough and having to find some weird lies to throw from.
Definitely forces you to take an extra second to check your angles and get your feet in the right place. Not an easy position to throw from.
Just tickled a little branch there. I don't think it would have ended up in a good spot, but we're out. We're making our way up. Just trying to conserve strokes now.
And just a testament to the difficulty of this course. Even though you get up here, you have these shorter shots. You see, you have these trees that just kind of guard the basket from like the circle one edge area. You got to really be touchy with your second shot into the green.
Yes. All right.
Yeah, and the green's still protected too. There's trees everywhere around the greens. If you're not in the right spot when you come landing in, you're not going to have a putt to make anything worthwhile. See, even Dave had a low ceiling putt there. Bigley was absolutely parked on that hole, so he grabbed the birdie on that. We didn't get the tap out there.
Hole 5, par 4, 483 feet. Really just looking to get out of the gap here and put yourself in a good position to throw your approach shot at the basket. Don't want to hug the right too close, though. Some tough stuff over there.
Yeah, I think there's pretty much two ideal lines here. You can either kind of throw something flat and overstable on the right side and just kind of have it skip out into the fairway, or you can go with a forehand here like Dave's doing and just kind of swing something out there and let it swing back into the fairway.
As long as it doesn't flare right.
Looks like he read your notes on the hole there. That was a pretty great drive, putting himself out in the open. Should have a nice open look at the basket.
Andrew's going to go for the same thing here.
I know, I'm usually at the back.
So talk to me about your decision here to go with the backhand as opposed to the forehand.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think the forehand is definitely the bigger gap. But after the last hole, sawing off the forehand, I really didn't want to make the same mistake again because the right side rough is far worse than the left side rough. So if I'm going to make the mistake, I'd rather do it going left than going right.
Yeah, that's a good call. This, of course, seems to be one that forces you to make a lot of decisions. Like right here, Bigley had to go out a little bit wider, maybe a little bit worried about that rough on the right side.
Yeah, and he was pretty far back too. He tried that turnover line, just kind of caught a tree. It's a really low ceiling, so it's hard to really. What a great shot there by Andrew.
Buzz in the tower.
On that turnover, just hit the tree and just kind of fell down. So he had a lot of work to do to get back up here, try and get a birdie. Dave's playing that real nice there, just going forehand, seeing where he's throwing the whole way, getting himself in a fine position for a putt.
Great shot there. Looks like that decision to go with the shot you felt more comfortable with off the tee pad put you in prime position for a really solid upshot there.
Yeah, I really like being out to the left, even when we're playing the long baskets. It just opens up the avenue for you to be able to throw a forehand into the harder basket too. So just being out in the open, playing park golf is my best game. So nice and easy. Great putt by Bigley there.
It seems like things are playing pretty well for him to start the round off. He looks pretty comfortable in his game and the decisions that he's making right now. But like I said, this course has a lot that can take from you and a lot that they can give you. Great putt by you as well.
Yeah, having Bigley out to a fast start here definitely helps push the rest of the card with us here. We all play MPO, so we're very familiar with trying to keep pace with the top cards and try to get as many birdies as you can while you can.
Speaking of birdies, some great birdies there by the card. Good hole to get, especially after some of the tougher earlier holes. Coming into hole 6, though, big par 4, 571 feet. Wide open space in front of you, but the green and the second shot is guarded by a line of trees. Kind of go aggressive off the tee and put yourself a lot closer to the basket, but also give yourself a tough angle with that tree line. Or you can lay up a little bit and give yourself a bigger, easier shot, but more distance to cover on your approach.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's two real plays here. There's the layup play on the side of the hill where you give yourself enough distance back away from that tree line to be able to throw over top of it, or you just absolutely send one and just hope that you clear the tree line. The worst thing you can do is be stuck down in there and have almost nothing to throw out of. So I'm going to challenge to go over top of the trees here.
Go. Yeah, right.
Great shot. What are you crushing on there?
That is the Ricky Rive, the new Orbit Rives that they just came out with. So we had a slight little wind coming off the hill there, and I knew if I just got a little bit of turn on it, it would just kind of hold it up in the air and hopefully fade out once it got over the top of the trees. Bigley loves to throw far, and he put this on hyzer the whole way, and the wind was just pushing down on top of the disc. Killed a lot of his distance.
Well, with a name like Bigley, I guess you have to kind of go big off the tee, but still leaves him in a pretty decent position for his upshot into the green.
Absolutely, and here you can see kind of the tricky part of being down here into the wood line. There are gaps, but it's uncomfortable and it's not what you want to be approaching the basket with.
Little patent pending action here. And what you might be able to tell, but looking back here, the basket is kind of a little bit protected by those evergreens that kind of keep you from going in too high. You have to kind of stay low and get a little ground play.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not on the left or right side of these trees, there's just not really a gap to hit. Try and make a putt. You just got to kind of lay up like I did there.
Is this a par 3? Par 4.
So distance-wise, it's not hard for a par 4 if you put yourself in a good spot.
Oh,
Little turbo attempt there.
For the coverage.
Yeah, Dave, very good at throwing turbo putts. I'm sure there's a few attempts today that he was trying to put on a clinic for. Nice cleanup there from Bigley. Definitely a very scoreable par 4. How did it play for your card?
It definitely was a tough hole. A lot of decisions to be made. Not the arm strength to get to those positions that you guys were able to get to, but you know, pars and some bogeys around. Speaking of distance, though, we got ourselves hole 7, par 5, 785 feet. Talk to me about your decision on the tee pad here. Like, what is it you're trying to go? You try to stay a little bit to the left, move it down to the right.
Absolutely. So you got a pretty wide open fairway right off the tee here, and a pretty big gap for your second shot if you can get yourself up on the high side of the hill on the left here. Being down to the right, if you get far enough, there is a backdoor play, but then you bring into the tree line that's very difficult to navigate.
Oh my gosh!
So Bigley was really trying to follow my line there and just kept it a little bit lower and caught that center tree that you're trying to miss. fine shot by Dave there, but he definitely wants to be a little bit farther left. Once we get to the next couple shots, you'll see that gap really open up on the left side that really gives you a chance to go up and into the green area.
Looks like Bigley's going up over the top. Definitely an interesting play with the wind that day. Putting anything up in the air is always a question mark what you're going to get. It brings back to the point of this course may not be the longest course in terms of the throws you're going to have to make for these par fours and par fives, but definitely forces a lot of decisions and course management, and you can see the effects of that, play out in different ways across the professional group or even the amateur group.
Absolutely. I mean, this is one of those courses that you're going to throw a full shot and maybe a second full shot before you can even think about finding a birdie opportunity. So I'm up here on the high side of the hill, little rough footing, just trying to squeak it up into the fairway, try to get up into the opening up there, and I just kind of clip that tree on the left.
That's cool. He'd be up here where we're landing on second shots.
This is Andrew's third after being down by the tree line. There's a nice flex forehand here, right up into the gap, fighting the hillside and the.
What was that disc?
Definitely seems like he's taking those first few holes in stride and kind of bouncing back a bit, throwing some clean shots, getting some nice big putts. Big putts definitely change the way you feel about your game as the round progresses. So let's see if he keeps up that momentum, throughout the course.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Green Monster is such a unique course. It challenges and stresses you so early in the round, and then gives you a little reprieve with some open air to work with, just to feel out your game, to make sure your lines are feeling right, and then it throws you right back into the woods, and then you gotta settle down and find those perfect lines all over again. So just chipping up a little forehand there.
Another
Go ahead.
another well-protected green by the trees, making even the approach shots a little bit touchy, a little bit tricky.
Yeah, and this one's forgiving with a par 5 on it, but it's two very technical shots that you got to put into play before you can even approach the green. And then, as you said, it's very contested in here. You can see how much Dave's having to work here just to find a gap to be able to putt.
So we got another turbo putt coming our way. Leaves it a little bit short.
Yeah, the last one definitely was for the knee, but
Was that another birdie for you there?
That was another birdie, trying to
Alright.
keep pace with Mr. Bigley.
nothing's coming in too hot over there, I think.
All right, coming into hole 8 here. These are actually the second shots. There are a couple camera difficulties on the tee shot, so this is your position off the tee. Are you happy with where your landing zone is after your tee shot here?
Absolutely. For this hole, I really want to try and just find my way to get to where the silver pad is, or the short pad. It really opens up a straight gap all the way down the fairway here. Gives you a lot of open space. It's Dave showing off his Zambia stamp.
And you can see if you look close at the ground, not only now are you dealing with trees, but some of the footing in here can be difficult. There's some rocks in different areas, so it really forces you to be very attentive to, your footwork, the ground play, and just understanding kind of all the mechanics of your flight and the shot.
Go left. Good tree, good tree.
Yeah, absolutely. This is definitely a day when the leaves are wet, covering on all these rocks. To be able to do standstill shots or short run-ups is ideal for your form. You see a lot of hesitation from Bigley here, just making sure that he feels comfortable throwing. He swings one down there about 80% of that fairway.
Sit down nice.
it's definitely something you can appreciate when you look at this game from like a professional level to an amateur level. You know, myself, when I approach the lie, I'm looking at the trees on the right, the trees on the left, trying to pick my mistake. Would I rather be to the right or the left, swinging it out too wide, keeping it too close? It's great to be able to see the time taken to really consider the shot and execute down these long tunnel gaps that you guys are throwing down.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a difficult task to throw a long tunnel shot. You're gonna have to throw something you absolutely trust the whole way down through. So I found my way down here at the edge of circle 2. Not a lot of space to work with, but try to give it a little run. Just clips a branch on the way up.
Let's see if that putter's still hot. Oh!
Andrew was so close. So the rest of us just all tapped out our birdies. Andrew took a par there.
Coming in at hole 9, another par 5, 589 feet. Looks like a couple decisions here off the tee. Another gap shot, which is going to be a reoccurring theme here for a bit on this course. What are you hoping to achieve here? Center fairway, left, right?
My ideal is to follow along that path you see up there on the right. I just want to be somewhere in the open space with comfortable footing and something to work with. So I think there's two like real options, and that's the wide forehand, so that you can kind of come crashing back into that path, or you got to throw something that flips up nice and holds flat as you want to land up here on there without getting a big skip off of it. Bigley pulled his over a little bit. I think Dave's going to go for that same gap. And he just gets that nice turn that we were talking about, trying to find that flat landing right up there on top of it.
Those are the shots that make you keep coming back to disc golf every single time, and you get that nice, beautiful flip up to the gap.
Yeah, absolutely. So Bigley went off to the right a little bit, fell down pretty early, so he's got a lot of work to do. Andrew and I both found our way down here on the bottom side, where you don't really want to be, because you have to throw uphill and you have to throw an angle on a disc. We almost hit the gap there. But honestly, it's just trying to make progress up and down this fairway. This is another semi-forgiving par 5, extra shots. Nice little skip shot there.
I believe
making forward progress.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that this is the third hole in what the course designers affectionately call the Green Mile here at the Green Monster, with the multiple par 5s in a row.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially for the long longs. They love how difficult they made it. I mean, hole 8, they call it 8 for 8, because a lot of people will take a triple bogey on their first time playing this course. So we're off here on the left side again, just trying to make progress, try to find our way up to the basket, see if we can find a putt. Still hear a little bit of the wind ripping through the course. Still early in the year, no leaves, just all barren trees.
One of the other things that you notice here is it kind of appears that you guys are slowly making your way uphill as you play some of these holes. As elevation definitely plays a factor into a lot of the course here, as you'll see, especially with some of the holes coming up.
Buttery big.
Yeah, I think it's a testament to your game to being able to throw high and low and gaps, and this course challenges every part of your game. It challenges you to scramble, challenges you to throw far, challenges you to work up and down hills multiple times throughout the course. So right there, I didn't even notice that there was a whole bunch of rocks on the ground. I was so worried about the gap and making the tree hits that I didn't even look to where I was landing, and just landed into the rocks. Didn't get any forward skip.
Wow, what a complicated position to be in there.
And then you saw Dave try to skip it up on the ground too, and it just caught a rock and went straight up. Definitely have to factor in your landing zones. Just didn't quite give that one enough. See if Dave can show us how to do it.
There we go. Just enough height. That's a great putt right there.
Yeah, excellent work from an ideal shot off the tee, just finding his way up and down the fairway, finding himself a nice little birdie there. Bigley gets another birdie there on the card. Jumps out to a 5-stroke lead here on the front nine. Or 5 down on the front nine.
Definitely a little bit of score separation there between everybody, but keeping it close with Dave, yourself, and Bigley. But with, like we said, the course has a lot of strokes to give, so we'll see what else we got here on the back nine.
Yeah, and big thanks to Heiser Media for coming out and filming. Stay tuned for the back nine.
Absolutely.